To start off this new type of, content that I'm going to create, the Miami Heat, as you might know, traded for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Therefore, the Heat actually hit me up trying to come up with ideas that could be cool. At this moment right now, I'm not sure if we're actually going to work together or they just ditch that idea completely. I don't know, but we'll see. And since I really like one of my ideas, I thought it was pretty neat, pretty cool. I don't know. I just feel like I don't want to pump myself up or whatever for no reason. But I kind of like it. It's when you have some ideas and you're like, this one is way better than the other ones. I'll just create that one. So this is what I'm going to do right now. The idea of this whole thing is that it's going to be both daily for Instagram for a week and then a full one on YouTube, I'm pretty sure, with more details as well. All right, let's get to work. And also, let me know what you think about the setup. I'm not sure if it's a definitive setup, if I'll change something. I know I'm going to add like a plant behind me, some plants up there. Anyway, yeah, so let's get to work, I guess. Let's see some inspiration, I guess. So let's type in museum, I don't know, let's see, Greek, ancient history. Just type in random names. I just want to see the inside. So this is kind of the framing that I have in mind, where these are way wider. So let's open up PureRef. PureRef is a software for reference pictures, so you just click and drag and that's it. You have an infinite canvas that stays on top of whatever you're doing. So for this stage, it's important to get more references that you might actually need. For example, like if you see like a small detail that you like, even if it's really small, make sure to save the references for later. You'll need them. Usually you want to, or at least I take, references for materials, environments, and faces if I'm doing characters. This could be interesting for the kind of like background pop a little bit more, like this one. It's a little too bright, saturated, but you get the point. See, this one we're getting close. We're getting close to the lighting, the kind of like background pop with the statue in the middle. I'm thinking whether or not doing just a stationary shot or like a slow zoom in, like really slow, or more dynamic. Ooh, I like that. This is the type of pop that I was thinking of. Yes. Not gonna get so many references, by the way. It's gonna be a pretty still shot, so not gonna be a huge time consuming as far as references. So now let's see, let's go again. Yes, let's say, should I do the environment? I'll do the environment first so that you guys are kind of interested in what the model will look like. And so you'll tune in afterwards. Streamer mentality already. Okay, so now what I do is usually, first of all, create a new level, basic. I don't want any exterior light or whatever. We don't need it right now. Delete this, you don't need it either. And then I'll start with Fab. And Fab is basically a marketplace, but I already have some assets from some other projects that I've worked on about, museum stuff. Therefore, I'm gonna go to my library and I'm gonna try to not spend any money for this project. So after you go through all this process right here of adding stuff, we're actually gonna keep bash all the stuff together and create some sort of like museum type of room, and that's actually gonna be it for today. But it's gonna be fun. You're gonna see a lot of things about Unreal, and maybe you can learn some stuff. Why not? We have here the museum parts. For example, this is, you drag it in, static mesh, boom, and you got, this is probably the top of the museum. And then you just start building out stuff from this sort of assets. And it's literally a drag and drop, and the cool thing about, Unreal is that you see in real time how it's going to look. So this is like a game changer for me when I was starting, to feel comfortable with Cinema 4D. I actually decided to switch to Unreal, and it's been great. It's been way more fun to actually see in real time, your creation and see how it looks. Obviously, it just literally just crashed. Great. As I was praising you with all, nice words, it crashed. Anyway, let's do this again. Okay. I'm actually gonna drag a meta-human body just for reference, and then another one for the statue. So the statue, I want it to feel like massive. So okay, that's a little bit too much. 5, no. Let's do 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 is fine. Because it has also the pedestal. Yes, I think it's good. One thing that I realized a little too late is that I know it sounds weird, but you should follow the tips that you hear online, some of them, because I would always hear this thing that in 3D, you don't have to focus on what's outside the camera. It was not going to be viewed in the camera. But I always felt like the more completed it is, the more it will feel real, like an actual thing that happened. But in reality, you lose so much time doing stuff that doesn't matter, that ever since I actually implemented this, I've been so much quicker, or the process is way more streamlined in a way, if that makes sense. But just a quick side note. So before continuing further, actually, let's do what I just told you to do. Therefore, let's create a camera. In Unreal, for this one, you need to go to this button right here, cinematic. You create a level sequence actor, which is basically your timeline. And then you go on the right side and you go into create new asset level sequence. You name it, whatever, Giannis Museum, save it, and then open level sequence. This is your timeline. And then from here, you create a camera with this button, and boom, you actually are inside the camera. So on the bottom left or on the right side in the detail panels, you can actually tweak all the settings. So for example, you can tweak the focal length, 12, and then you move with the same controls that you move inside Unreal, and you can position the camera the way you'd like. For my idea, crowd needs to be shorter than 1. Let's do 0.7, and then maybe, I don't know, it doesn't feel like a huge statue though. Side note, if you want to create something like with the composition overlays and stuff, you can go to perspective on top and then go to cinematic viewport. You click on it, it's going to reset it and kick you out of the camera. No worries, you just press this icon right here in the timeline, you're back into the camera, and then you can actually go to film overlay option and pick, the rule of thirds overlay, the grid like this one, crosshair, stuff like that. And also you can, action save, title save, all that good stuff. But you can do this. You can go 4/5, and you know what the aspect ratio of Instagram post will look like. Usually it's pretty useful because you want to create one video that works for both, optimizing time and, fidelity to the original version of the video. So you don't want to change it too much between the two formats. But yeah, so that's how you do it. And I was thinking in my head that the characters will be in front, all black, like you don't really see anything because they're in the shadow or the light not that lit, like this one, and they're like freaking out in the foreground. So ideally they should be this size, but this one, I don't like the size of this one. It needs to feel scary tall, kind of like this one. Then maybe when we pose it, it's gonna be shorter. Yes, I think it's too close to the top though. So yeah, so let's start building out stuff. I might not talk too much during this part, but You might see me going back and forth between seeing the camera and not seeing the camera, like through the camera. So this is how I do it. Basically is right now you're seeing the camera, right now you're not. So you can do it, toggle it manually in the timeline, which is a bit of a pain, or you can do Shift C. Shift C though allows you, if you can see the screen, allows you to like see the camera from the camera cuts. So whatever you see in the camera cuts, you're gonna see it with Shift C, which that means if you have the camera track interrupted, like this one, when you scroll, it's gonna kick you out of the camera. Right now we're out of the camera, and then we're gonna go back into the camera because the track says so. So keep that in mind. One thing that you can do, you might say, yeah, I wanna build it, but I wanna see like what the camera sees while I'm building it. And you can do that easily. You can actually click on the camera that you want to see, and it's gonna pop right in the corner right there. You can view it temporarily, so you can actually see it like this, and then you can click on anything else and it's gonna disappear. Or if you pin preview, the preview of the camera, and then it's gonna stay there no matter what you click. And it's gonna update in real time. If you wanna move it, you see it on the bottom right, what's gonna happen. And obviously right now it's darker just because we have the letterbox mask. Try to say that quickly. What I really like about Unreal is that it really feels like you're building a game. You just like literally, well, actually in 3D in general, but like it feels like you're literally playing around just to try and see stuff, practically see what it looks like immediately. So it's way quicker than other 3D softwares. So I'm not worried about much in this scene, to be fair, just to kind of have a glimpse of the museum. So definitely want to add this ceiling right here, what maybe lights shines through. And what I do, it's usually I just do stuff off my head and then look at the references and then tweak it, because I still feel like this part is important for me to be myself, to like actually add stuff that I'm actually envisioning and not taking inspiration from, and then look at the references and then tweak it. For now, we're not focusing on materials, or at least I try to not focus on materials. Sometimes, you can have the most perfect workflow that sometimes you just like feel like working on the materials, then you do the materials. Like there's no real order that you might want to follow, It's like if it helps envisioning the scene, then do whatever feels best for you and your creativity. That's the main thing. Again, as I was saying before, like whatever the camera doesn't see does not matter. So I know this is not aligned or whatever, it should be more aligned and stuff like that. If you look at the camera, it works. Therefore, it's fine. So we're not gonna spend too much time on this project, on that stuff. Yep, that's all good. And then maybe extend it a little bit more just because we're gonna need it for lighting purposes, reflections and whatnot, shadows. Same thing for this one. I'm just gonna multiply it, place it right here. Maybe we don't want this and we can change it. We can do it afterwards. Like I'm talking about the double window next to each other. But yeah, so let's see. Let's add some stuff. So for the camera, the pillars are fine. We don't care about the size of them. However, I think it will help sell the size of the place if we make them bigger. Yeah, definitely. So let's make them a little bit wider thing. So I don't like the gray of this one, the gray part. So we're actually gonna try and change this. So right now I'm actually doing some perfectionism shit that I should not do. So let's keep going. Okay, I want to have this bigger for sure. We're definitely going to change the banner art. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna go to the source textures. So what I did, sorry if I'm going too fast, it's I go to the material, go into the texture parameter values, and then I click on this button right here, which brings me to the folder, source folder. Right now, I know that this is the image that gives the texture to the banner, so I'm gonna download it and then modify it in Photoshop afterwards. And so I'm gonna right click, export, and then I'm gonna pick the folder and save it. So now I do have the texture that I'm actually going to modify it and put artworks or whatever I want. So that's good. Let's look up the reference now. So right now I have a pretty good base of what the scene is gonna look like. And see, I was forgetting the red pop and the room, yes. Okay, so definitely we need some sort of like, let's see, ceiling details. Let's see what it is. There we go. So this one, definitely need this one to kind of like separate the ceiling seam line from the actual walls. So right now I need to, there we go, make it even. Boom, just copy and paste. Move it, copy and paste. Move it. Click all three. Move them and then make these a bit bigger. So now the walls, I think we should add some pop of colors for sure. Not sure. Should I do red? Should I do red? I'll do red. I'll actually do this red. Yes. But I want it to feel, I don't like it throughout. We need to have some sort of like separation between that and the floor. In order to achieve the pop of color, we're gonna do two things. First of all, we're gonna go to Fab, again, our friend Fab, and then go to library. No, actually go to Quixel content, which is a free library. Then you go to Quixel Megascan, and then you type in marble material and texture, so we don't. And then you just see, look at the marble and see whatever you like. I might use this one, so I'm gonna press high quality, add to project. I know I've said you should not go to the textures yet, or you should have a workflow or whatever, but like sometimes it's really important for you to visualize some stuff in order to go forward. And in this case, the red part actually helps me building the environment. So that's why the material right now and the textures right now are important. However, you should not over focus on all of them at this stage. So you keep doing this basically until you're satisfied with what you have. Okay, we got the material right here. We're just gonna drop it in our scene, and then we can see that it has some textures. That's good. And then we're gonna do the same thing for this ones. So I'm just gonna copy and paste, rotate it 90, and then place it. Go inside the material, base color tint, and we go to red. Two things. I want it to be a little bit more saturated, maybe more contrast. And usually materials have tiling, so you can scale up or scale up down the tiling of the source. Kinda like that. Maybe make it, make this pattern like gold rather than black. So I kind of like it. I think with the lighting, this will pop way more. And again, it's gonna be a simple video. It's not gonna be a crazy, intense type of video. I'm gonna add some frames with pictures from the NBA, Giannis. Maybe make them into paintings, I guess. See, like something like this. So yeah, I like it. Okay, so I think for the environment we're good to go. I think we're gonna stay like this for now, for today. Would be cool. I think I'm gonna add a Miami Heat logo right here or right here. So for today, I think is gonna be it. Obviously, this needs to be attached right here. This one too.